Hello, and welcome to Waycross Candidate Profiles. Each year during the election season, we offer candidates running in the Waycross viewing area an opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes in length to you, the voting audience at home. Waycross does not take positions on candidates or issues, but I do encourage you to vote on November 5th.
Hello, I'm Jeff Baker and I'm running for Colerain Township Fiscal Officer. First, I'd like to take the time to thank Waycross for the opportunity to come here today and to tell you a little bit about myself. My wife Erin and I moved to Colerain about 5 years ago when we built our home and decided to raise our two beautiful daughters in this area. We love our community, we love our neighborhood, we love being able to call Colerain home. We moved here from Cheviot, where we were very involved in the community. I was a business owner there, a member of City Council, and an integral part of the economic development of Cheviot. An example of that is I was able to, as a member of City Council, broker a deal to start the Broad Hope Art Collective, which was an opportunity to give local artists the ability to showcase their art and give them affordable gallery and studio space, all the while using empty, vacant retail locations right in the center of downtown Cheviot. It gave them the opportunity, and it also gave the business owners, the property owners, the ability to showcase their properties, and at this point they're all rented. So it was a great success. Like I said, I was a business owner there as well. I owned a Higher Ground Coffee House. I enjoyed very much being a business owner, a lot of hours, but they were worth it. But I got an opportunity in 2014 to sell the business and pursue a career with Hamilton County. I went on to become a courtroom clerk for the Clerk of Court's office and moved up to being the Human Resource Director. I've also been a Common Pleas Court bailiff, and currently I serve for the Hamilton County Juvenile Court as the Business and Administrative Projects Manager, where I handle day-to-day fiscal, administrative, budgetary, and purchasing needs for the court. So I bring a lot of business, finance, and government experience to the Office of Fiscal Office that I'm pursuing. And I'm a person that believes that details matter. I have a strong knowledge of tax incremental financing, or TIFs, and also of joint economic development, or JEDs. Colerain is an area that's rich in history. It's a thriving community, but like most others, it has some issues. And some of those issues, I believe, are a lot of divisiveness and some help in economic development. And I can pledge to you that what I'll do is everything in my power to try to bridge some of those gaps, bring a little bit more unity if I can, help the Board of Trustees in any way that I can to generate economic development. I feel that details matter, and if I'm elected, I can tell you that I will run the fiscal office with professionalism, courtesy, grace, and transparency above all. So on November 5th, if you would like to vote for someone who believes that details do matter, then please vote for Jeff Baker for Fiscal Officer. Thank you and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Matt Wallert, and I'm candidate for Colerain Township Trustee this November. Colerain Township is, in my opinion, one of the greatest places to live in the state of Ohio. And my motto is that I want to put Colerain Township first through responsible leadership. As a high school senior at St. Xavier, living in the villages of Northgate, I worked my first job at Colerain Bob Evans, working kitchen prep and making the biscuits, oftentimes working third shift to help with high school expenses. I even bought my first car at Bennett Ford. My mother was a teacher at Northwest Local School District, and many of you folks may have had her as a teacher. Many of your children may have had her. The bottom line is this: Colerain Township's my home. All throughout my adult life, I've also had a passion for service, and that really drives me day in and day out. I've spent over 20 years as a government and history teacher. I now teach at Elder High School and at Miami University up in Oxford. Before elder, I spent 18 years at St. Henry in northern Kentucky, and I believe I have the education and experience that make me the best candidate for trustee. I have a PhD in political science, I have 2 master's degrees, a bachelor's degree. I've had over a dozen books and articles published, all about government, including the series that's used at West Point for teaching terrorism. Ohio State University, Indiana University, University of Nebraska, Ohio University, and the Alexander Hamilton Society are all some of the folks that have invited me to speak on issues of government. I'm a member of the board of directors of COAST, the coalition opposed to additional spending and taxes. I'm a member of the board of No More Stadium Taxes and 3 different school boards. I've served as an elected official in the past, been an officer of a CIC, and served on the OKI board. You know, it's no secret Colerain Township is facing a number of issues that require new leadership, fresh leadership to find the necessary solutions. And I believe the time to do that is now. We can no longer afford to kick the can down the road and defer solutions. Basically, I feel that those solutions fit in one of 3 broad categories, or those problems fit in one of 3 broad categories. First of all, safety and basic services. Things about police and fire and funding issues that are coming up within the next year to 18 months. We have issues with roads, sidewalks, lighting. All this needs to be addressed in a new way that also keeps an eye on the checkbook. We have issues with spending and economic development in Colerain Township. You know, our budget has grown from a couple decades ago, $8 to $10 million a year, over $30, $35 million a year now. And I'm not saying that money's being wasted, but I'm saying that we need to keep a close eye. And also transparency and cooperation. We need a next trustee who's going to cooperate, who's going to be involved with the community, and who's going to be willing to sit down with folks that not only agree with him, but also disagree with him to find solutions. And in fact, that's really what democracy is all about. While all this is going on, I think it's also important to keep in mind an eye on the checkbook. I'm a fiscal conservative. I've been endorsed by the GOP. I've been endorsed by Governor DeWine, 2 U.S. congressmen, Norbert Nadel of the Recorder's Office, Chris Monzell, former Hamilton County Commissioner. 7 current township trustees have now endorsed me. State Senator Bill Blessing, former State Senator Lou Terhar, Ohio State Rep Tom Brinkman, and Speaker of the Ohio House Bill Seitz have also endorsed me. But you know, I like to think that I'm someone who puts a walk to the talk when it comes to fiscal conservative values. So a few days ago during the Waycross Candidates Forum, I did something that I don't think you're going to see a lot of. I pledged to return the healthcare stipend provided to the trustees each year. You know, I'm fortunate enough to work at a place where I have healthcare coverage through my employer, so I think it's really the right thing to return that stipend and that taxpayer money to Colerain Township. If elected, I'll end up returning over $10,000 to our community because I think it's the right thing to do. You may have remembered last summer when I launched the sales tax petition drive. We received over 38,000 signatures to remove a sales tax and put it on the ballots that the voters could decide. That saved Colerain Township $530,000 a year. So I really, at this point, want you to think, what do you want out of your next trustee? And take a look at my accomplishments, my leadership, and some of the folks that say I will do a good job. And I urge that you consider Matt Wallert for Colerain trustee November 5th. And I thank you for going out to vote. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joe Worterman, and I'm a candidate for trustee race in Colerain Township this November 5th. Hopefully my name and face are familiar to you, for I have had the privilege to serve the community of Colerain as a trustee in the past. And there's always the question, why do you want this job? Well, I recognize at the present time that the trustees are lacking in direction and lacking in leadership. Therefore, the township is suffering. I want to bring back professionalism into the Board of Trustees and be able to provide concrete foundation for the future of Colerain Township. In the past, I have been involved with the development and redevelopment of the Colerain Police Department. I was involved in the building of the Colerain Township Administration Center, the ability to provide paramedic opportunities in the fire department, and I also introduced local zoning to Colerain Township. Now these all take planning and they take execution. Again, that is not happening in Colerain Township today. As a business owner, I'm familiar with the importance of planning and execution and the idea of making things happen. A lot of people run for office and say, well, I'm a fiscal conservative, I'm not going to raise your taxes, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Well, I'm here to tell you that I am going to do things. If we want to improve the health of Colerain Township, we have to have the opportunity to increase the economic development footprint in the township. We have to provide the needed services and continued services of the police and fire, because they are a professional organization that need our support. And I do not see that backing from the present Board of Trustees. Things just don't happen. It takes planning and, like I said, execution to accomplish those areas. And we do not need contested arguments all the time in the Board of Trustees. We need to listen to the people, not give them a 5-minute timing and saying, if you go over this, then we're going to remove you from the room. That is not how government works. If you're a good trustee, you listen to your community, you understand the needs, and you plan for the future to make sure that the board is meeting those needs, and that also the managers understand what their part in delivering those services are to the township. You may or may not know at this point in time, but we're actually short 3 department managers in the township. And we've had personnel leave the township because of bad management and no direction from the Board of Trustees. So that's why I'm running for Colerain Township Board of Trustees, because I want to bring in good planning, I want to see the township progress, and I want to work with the school district to make this township a healthy community where people really want to work, live, and play. So I would ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 5th, for Colerain Township Trustee. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Monica Bowles, and I am your candidate for the Northwest Local School District Board of Education. I have owned my home now for 13 years in our district. I also have a child who attends our schools. I have been a volunteer with PTA, with several committees for the district, and I also serve on the board in the neighborhood in which I live. I graduated from Wright State University in 1998. I majored in sociology and management. And also, while there, I did receive the Resident of the Year award for my leadership and volunteer activities. My passion for communities and giving back never left. I've also worked in housing for 20 years. I've worked in multi-million-dollar communities, in home building, down to land development. I've worked in subsidized housing up to $1 million homes. So the point is a very diverse background in working with and dealing with different groups of people, which I think has certainly helped me in a district as diverse as ours. Few things that I do think that we have some challenges with that I'd like to certainly be a part of solutions is our transparency. I think we definitely need better communication efforts through our district, but when I talk about that transparency, it's not just about the good things, but it's about identifying some of our deficiencies so we can make them better and improve them. I think the best people to identify our deficiencies in our schools are the folks that are working there. And that includes our staff, our teachers, down to our janitors and everybody and everything in between. That means that it will take a collective approach to leadership, an inclusive approach to leadership, to make sure that there is substantial feedback and transparency in identifying those deficiencies so they can be fixed. In the spirit of fiscal transparency, I do think that it is critically important that we are making sure that we're right-sizing our district staff-wise. But I also think that we should not be doing things like having communication studies while we're in deficit spending or paying people to change our narrative. If we just fix our problems, we don't need to spend those extra dollars. And that all ties down to the correct approach to leadership. We need a board of education members who understand financials, who will ask the very difficult questions, and most important, be honest about it to our community and everyone else. I think it's critically important that we ask questions around our staffing. There certainly have been some challenges, I believe, on a variety of levels. We need to make sure that we have the right talent in the right roles that has the right experience for our schools. All of those things certainly have a direct correlation to our academic test results. Our culture needs to change here. I brought forth very few things in my little 5 minutes that I have tonight here, but I'm committed to this journey to make our schools better. I think our culture needs to change in our district. We should not have this division amongst our district. We are one district. I think we need this change to make our property values better, for our economic viability of our entire community, not some of it, and for the most important piece of this, for our students. Thanks for listening and have a great evening.
Hi, I'm Diane Bradley, and I'm running for the Northwest Local School District Board of Education. I am a graduate of The Ohio State University, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial and Systems Engineering. I moved into this district in 2001, and I live in Pleasant Run Farms, and I'm very happy to also be raising 2 young children who also attend schools in this district. As a mother and a member of this community, I went on to find that there are other items that I would like to know about what's going on at the school. So I joined the PTA, and I also joined the Diversity Committee, and I later was invited to be a part of the Superintendent Advisory Committee. From there, I was attending the board meetings, and I went one fateful day in September, and there was an opportunity to fill a position that's open on the board, and 8 members submitted their resumes, and 4 were interviewed, and I was the lucky one who was unanimously selected to be a part of the Board of Education. From there, as a board member, I have had the opportunity to actually meet with the superintendent and the treasurer prior to the meetings, and I am able to recommend and have recommended items that were not originally going to be a part of the agenda. As a sitting board member, I am not afraid to say no and go against the majority if that's what serves the community best as far as their purposes. As being a part of this community, I also would like for you to consider that I am willing to actually be a member that actually sways with the change in the committee, and that we have a lot of different items that are a bit of a challenge to a lot of us. 3rd grade reading guarantee is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm hoping to help the system and help more students get through and past that hump. One other item I know that's challenged a lot of parents is the Common Core. So I'm hoping that I can add some items or some alternatives to that for our educational system. Now, we are part of an ever-changing community, and I'm hoping that you will select me to be your candidate to represent the community's voice this November 5th and represent and be a part of the change with you. So thank you very much for listening.
Hello, I am Kristy Dukes Davis, and I'm excited and honored to be your candidate for Springfield Township trustee. I am running for trustee because I have lived and invested in this community my entire life, and I want to continue to see it thrive. I am a homegrown girl. I was born and raised in Lincoln Heights. I graduated from Princeton High School, and I earned my bachelor's degree from Northern Kentucky University. I've worked collaboratively with very diverse groups of people, and I've held leadership positions throughout my 28-year career in Hamilton County government. I've committed my life to public service and to the youth of Hamilton County. I currently serve as a board member of Linden Grove School, a school for autistic children. I'm a former board member of Life Skills High School, an alternative dropout recovery school for students facing challenges, and I also serve as a mentor to several young girls in my community. I believe your next trustee must understand our very diverse communities and neighborhoods here in Springfield Township. The needs and concerns of our residents in West College Hill and Finneytown are just as important as the needs and concerns of our residents in Seven Hills and Pleasant Run Farms. You want to live in a safe neighborhood. you want to have nice and usable parks in your community. And you don't want to damage your car by hitting a pothole on your way home from work. I will prioritize public safety. I will promote strategic partnerships amongst businesses of all sizes. I will advocate for great parks, and I will cultivate the arts in our community through great programs like Arts Connect Springfield Township. My goal is to consistently do what's in the best interest of the township and its residents. I look forward to serving the community that I love and that has molded me into the woman I am today. So for all these reasons, I believe that I am uniquely qualified to serve as your next Springfield Township trustee.
My name is Jamie Ray, and I'm running for Springfield Township trustee. I'm a Democrat. I have an MBA and 22 years business experience, and I want to fix the tax structure. My wife Ginger Bach and I moved to Springfield Township about 10 years ago and have since started our family. We have 2 small children. In fact, the oldest one just recently enrolled as a kindergartner at Brent Elementary School. Since the boys have been born, most of my community involvement has been coaching soccer at the local YMCA. Currently, you can find me on Saturday mornings coaching a 3- and 4-year-old team, Go Giraffes, followed up by a 5- and 6-year-old team, Fly Eagles Fly. But I've always wanted to do more. So when Gwen McFarland, who's been a trustee for 24 years and isn't allowed to run anymore, came up to me and said that she'd handpicked me to run for her seat, I jumped in with both feet. I immediately started racking my brain. What could I pull from my coaching experience, my working experience, the time that I was a college athlete? What leadership traits could I pull that would apply to being a township trustee? And I settled on 3: balance, engagement, and advocacy. I'd like to talk about them right now. Balance. The trustees race is a nonpartisan race, and that simply means we're not identified by party on the ballot. The current makeup of the Board of Trustees is 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. And it's the Democrat seat that's up for election. And I don't believe in one-party rule. So, I am a Democrat. I'm endorsed by the Hamilton County Democratic Party, the AFL-CIO, the local laborers union, the local plumbers and pipe fitters union, the Cincinnati Building Trades Council, and the teachers. I plan on getting elected and then on day 1 bringing a fresh voice and balance to the Board of Trustees. The second trait is engagement. I personally knock on over 300 doors a week talking to residents, and my volunteers knock on even more. I'm listening to the people to find out what they really are concerned with on top of trying to introduce myself, but I really try to focus more on the listening. Advocacy. I realize that a trustee sometimes has to make a decision that isn't in their best interest, and I am willing to do that. That's the first thing I want you to know. But in my engagement with residents, there's been 2 issues that have really come to the forefront that I'm going to focus on if elected. The first is safety. People are talking about traffic safety. They're talking about drugs and violence, and they're even talking about whether there should be a streetlight on their corner. I want to interact with residents and experts to figure out ways to improve the safety for the residents of Springfield Township. I want to bring in an expert named Derek Bauman, who's a former patrolman and a very, very passionate believer in a program called Vision Zero. There's been numerous kids hit in the Cincinnati public school system walking on their way to school by cars this year. And it happened a couple of times in the Northwest School District. And I want to see if there's ways that Vision Zero can help Springfield Township. The second is taxes. 80% of our taxes in Springfield Township are on the residents, while only 20% of those are coming from businesses. That is unsustainable. As I said, I've got an MBA and 22 years of experience, and the majority of that has been in strategic planning and business development. The quickest way to change that ratio is to increase taxes on businesses, but I do not want to do that. It's not fair. It will hurt our successful independent businesses. What I want to do is use my experience to bring more businesses that we can tax. That increase in business tax revenue will lower the burden on the residents and make living here that much more enjoyable, because not a huge part of our paychecks isn't going to our property taxes. So, my name is Jamie Ray. I am a Democrat. And I hope on November 5th, you'll consider voting for me. And if you're really eager, you can start on October 8th. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Aaron Brown. I'm 28 years old, and I'm running for Forest Park City Council. I was raised in this community by my mother and my great-grandmother, both of whom live in Forest Park and who are nurses, and instilled in me the value of taking care of one another and our community. And with that in mind, I went on to Miami University to major in political science with a minor in criminal justice. I spent the final semester of my program interning in the United States Capitol in the House of Representatives, working on housing affordability. From there, I returned to Cincinnati, and I went to the University of Cincinnati receiving my master's in community planning. While in the program, I had a focus on economic development and housing sustainability. I worked in the nonprofit sector on community development, and as we know, Hamilton County is facing a 40,000 unit deficit in affordable housing. There are a lot of vacancies across the entire county, Forest Park having 250 of them. At that point, I realized I had to do something. Government is supposed to work for people, and it's supposed to bridge the gap between the public and nonprofit sectors to solve issues that people face every day. A lot of people tend to ask me why I'm running, and I tell them just that government should do for the people what they can't do for themselves. But in the process, they need to be open and transparent throughout the entire thing. So I guess, in my definition, a public official is supposed to be a servant to the public. And I believe in the principle of servant leadership. That's why my platform consists of 3 things. Sustainable community development. We want to bring people back to Forest Park so they can experience the unique history and vibrancy of the area. We have to fill the vacancy just so we can alleviate a bit of the tax burden on the rest of us. Number 2, I want to play up the concept of community. A lot of people live here for years, but they don't know their neighbors and they don't know the history of their neighborhood. If we can bring more festivals and more opportunities for people to engage, it will begin to tear down those walls so we can build bridges. And number 3, we need to reinvest in economic development, filling the vacancy left by a lot of businesses that have left the area. Forest Park has a lot to offer, and I believe that working with the people and government working together, we can bring that back. Together, we can bring a new vision to Forest Park and to make government serve the people again. Please consider lending me your support. Thank you.
Good day. My name is Denise Holt, and I'm running for re-election to City Council in the City of Forest Park, and I'm seeking your vote on November 5th. I am dedicated to fiscal responsibility, public safety, economic development, and Forest Park diversity. I am a longstanding citizen in the City of Forest Park for more than 30 years. I love my city, and I'm proud of it. I'm concerned with the well-being of my family and all of the families in Forest Park. I am concerned with what goes on in Forest Park and what happens in Forest Park. I want to ensure you that if you need an ambulance, one will be available to you. If you need the fire department, they will also be available. I am a strong advocate of safety and well-being in our neighborhood. I want to work with public safety to boost our neighborhood watch program. I am for stronger property maintenance. Diligent and enforcing city's codes. I want to ensure all citizens are aware of all of the services that are available to help them maintain their property. I will work to make sure the city's economic development plans stay on track and that they are aggressive with business recruitment to fill the vacancies in our community, and that they are diligent in recruiting, retaining, and expanding businesses in our neighborhood. I'm transparent. My name is Denise Holt. I am seeking your vote on November 5th to re-elect me to City Council of Forest Park so I can continue the work that I have started. May God bless you and our community. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Cristina Engle, and I am pleased to be a candidate for the 2019 Forest Park City Council election. If you've been out and about in Forest Park, you may have seen people reading my flyers, people wearing my t-shirts, and people putting my signs in their yards. So I wanted to come up here and tell you a little bit about myself, who I am, where I'm from, and what I stand for. I am 26 years old, and I was born and raised in Forest Park by a retired pastor, my mom, who's a retired elementary school teacher. We adopted my brother from Guatemala when he was 12 years old, and I've traveled there often. I attended Winton Woods City Schools from first grade through senior year and graduated as valedictorian of the class of 2011. I can proudly attest to the school district's success. I am still heavily involved with the school district by serving as mentor for the Academy of Global Studies at the high school. I received a full ride to Bowling Green State University, where I double majored in Spanish and International Studies. I then went on to obtain my Master of Public Administration degree from Northern Kentucky University. My original career goal was actually to run a nonprofit in Guatemala. However, I fell backward into local government through an internship that I had with the city of Cincinnati, and I found my true passion. I always say that local government chose me. Throughout my career in city management, I have worked in various jurisdictions in the greater Cincinnati area and in the Chicago area. I currently work in city management for a city neighboring Forest Park. I greatly enjoy serving the residents there, but I'm ready to serve the residents of my own community as well. I want to take a few moments to talk to you about some of my values for Forest Park, one of which is a strong and vibrant community. I believe that communities should be strong support systems where residents feel they belong. Forest Park has always been this to me. Every time I go to Forest Park, I feel like I'm truly at home. I want to bring fresh ideas to move the city forward, especially regarding business attraction and retention. Another value I have is long-term investment. Running an operating budget and capital budget will keep a city afloat, but a separate budget for revitalization will help it to thrive. I believe in thinking outside the box to manifest a fresh vision for the future, something new, something that we haven't tried before. Finally, I believe in inclusion and belonging. We should embrace Forest Park's diversity by welcoming people of all various backgrounds and perspectives into our city. The addition of new families to our city builds strength to ensure continual economic development. This fall and for the next 4 years, I want to take my dedication to public service to the next level by serving as your councilwoman. I want to bring new ideas and a breath of fresh air to City Hall, where I can influence legislation and public policy for you. I am a diligent and dedicated worker, and you can count on me to work hard on your behalf. No matter which candidate you vote for, don't forget to come out and vote on November 5th, 2019. My name is Cristina Engle, and I appreciate your time and attention. I'll see you at the polls.
Hello, Forest Park. My name is Reggie Sylvester, and I'm a candidate for City Council. I'd like to start out by saying that I moved to Ohio in 1979 after completing my education in electronic engineering technologies. And from that point, I moved to Forest Park in 1986. In 1991, I met my wife and we married. And from that point of being here in Forest Park for over 30 years, my family and I have found favor and pride of being a resident of Forest Park. During that tenure, I was raising our family. My children came up through the Wittenwoods District school system. They are alumni of the district. And from that point, through that growing, we worked together in various programs within the city programs and outside of the city programs. But throughout that experience, we festered good relations with a variety of families in Forest Park and the surrounding cities. Throughout that tenure, I was very active in the school system as an athletic booster member, and I also was a member of the music boosters, where I became the president. And from that working, myself and my wife, we received an award for an achievement throughout the service that we rendered, and that was given by the district and the school and staff. I'm currently a member of the Forest Park Commission, Park and Rec Commission Board. I have been on that board since 2006. I'm currently vice chair to that committee. And we have worked diligently with the various programs that have been supported through that program. Some that you may know of Gospel Fest, breakfast with the Easter Bunny. We also have done the Harvest Fest, Jazz in the Park, and Breakfast with Santa. Nothing like Breakfast with Santa. But throughout those various programs, you may say, well, those were childish. But we say, oh, but we work with our youth. And those programs help develop the youth and bring them to a point to where they saw an investment from the city within them. So my support has always been driven with the attitude of doing the right thing, presenting a service of quality to the residents of Forest Park. My objective is to work with the council members and the staff to sustain current business and to also help develop and bring in new businesses. I will work to advance the safety of the city, even though Forest Park has pleasantness around, but we want to try to make sure that we have systems in place that it will continue, and that we would all know that from those workings, we can see continued growth of advancement with the community in the future. We know that there are other government levels that have higher positions of authority, and we would work with those level of government to bring in those resources that the city of Forest Park deserve to have that would help develop it and help it to grow. So we know that that's done with the state legislators, and it is also done with the county commissioners. So with those two areas of strengths in the government, we would work our best to bring those things that are deserving to Forest Park. And with closing, I'd like to say to you, please be an investor and vote for Sylvester for Forest Park City Council. Well, thank you, and may God bless.